Yeah, there's all kinds of different settings. Alright, hey y'all, name's Cam. Today we're going to be skinning out this beautiful Texas Hill Country buck. Take a second to appreciate this beautiful buck. I think it's around 19 inches, but I'll tape it later to see exactly. Anyways, we're going to be skinning this out. Things I'm going to be using, basically just a surgical grade scalpel. Get them on Amazon, as well as flathead screwdriver. That's really all you need to achieve this. So my first cut I'm going to make, and why don't you get close on this one, is right here up the middle of the nose. So basically I'm just going to go right into this nose cartilage or whatever it is. I'm just going to make that cut right there. And then I'm going to go straight back toward the forehead, straight up the nose, right down the forehead. Now when I'm doing this, I'm turning this blade out, and the reason I'm doing that is because we do not want to scrape this blade alongside the bone. That's going to cause marring and scoring of the bone. We don't want that. So we're going to try to keep that sharp blade off the bone and just work quick as we can right up this line. Right as you get to right between the eyes, it's going to start to get a little tougher. That's where the deer's always rubbing on trees and fighting, so it's going to be kind of a thicker hide right there. There's also a gland right there. So best you can, make that incision. A longer knife would actually be better for this one with a longer blade, but we're just making that incision, and that's what we've got. That's a good place to start. And then I'm going to come right back here to the tip of the nose and just start working this side back on this side of the face. Again, avoiding that bone. And the way you can avoid that bone, just make sure that when you're making your deliberate cuts, you're making it on the inside of the hide, not on that bone. And you're just working this back, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. We're going to come all the way up to the eye hole, and once we reach the eye hole, we're going to go to the other side, do the same thing. So right here, the eye's right behind us, and now I'm going to work on the other side. Now I wish I was left-handed. I could have the same dexterity I do with my left hand as I do with my right hand, but I don't, so I'm just going to come around. And same concept, we're just working back from the nose to the eye hole. Making strong, deliberate cuts. At no point you want to be sawing. There's no kind of sawing motion. You just want to be making sharp, quick cuts. Grabbing the hide where you can and pulling it back. Now, a good time to note that I'm not trying to save this hide for any kind of taxidermy reasons. This hide's going to be thrown away, so there's no need to worry about scraping it or cutting it where you don't want it to be cut. Alright, so we're basically to the eye on both sides. Now it's time to work on the bottom jaw. And it's the same similar concept. Just going to be going straight down from the back side. We've now opened it up and we're just now cutting it back. Let's come all the way down the length of this bottom jaw. Play with a longer knife, make me look a little more coordinated. That's why we have two knives. So sometimes you're going to break your damn scalpel, and you're going to need to use your other scalpel, so. That's alright, that's why we have two. And now we're working back on that side, do the same thing on the other side. So now you've got it back off of the mouth. The mouth's pretty much fully on, exposed. You can see here he was eating on some corn, which is pretty neat. Now while I'm here, put this thing on its head, and I'm going to complete this cut up this back of the lower jaw to the neck here so that we can have a completely split hide up here. And I'll probably fast forward this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that wasn't the most beautiful way of doing it, but we did it. Now it's time to work on the eye holes. The eye holes can be tricky because, again, this is a place where you can really score up the bone. So just make sure that once you find it, this eye hole, that's where you're cutting. You don't want to cut on the edge of the eye, the bone around the eye. You want to find exactly where that eye is, and there it is. And then it's just like skinning any other part of the deer. You're just working on that silver skin, just peeling it back. Same thing on the other side. Alright, we already found the eye. Keeping our cuts high, not to make any contact with that bone. Alright, well there's all the hide off around the eyes, and the eyes will end up cutting out those eyeballs. That'll be probably the last thing we do. So just leave them alone for now. But we're working nicely here, and you know, I have some tips and tricks for this, but right now it's pretty simple. You just kind of work back and you're getting that hide off from where you started. Looky there. Majority of the hide's off the head now. We just got to work on right around the antlers as well as back of the head. So we've got this kind of split in the hide that we worked on earlier, and we're just going to continue up from here, making sure that this split is super pronounced and open. Now the reason I like the surgical blade is because of how precise you can get with it, but a nice long Havlon or something like that would work great when you're making a long cut on the hide like this, but this just works for me, and the fact that I don't have to worry about a long blade hitting the bone where I don't want it to hit the bone. And that's a big point for me, is making sure that I don't score up the bone, which I think I just did a little bit right there, but that's going to be okay. That's what it looks like when you do score the bone. But there's other ways later on in the process where we can make sure that that's not seen. So again, we're just trying to split this hide. At this point, we're going to split this hide all the way back off the neck. And at this point also too as well is we don't no longer have to worry about scoring up the bone because, well, we're off the bone, so I can come right on here, right on the meat. Another issue with making contact with the bone is that you're going to dull your blade. So again, I'm just trying to split this hide straight down the middle all the way back so that we've got a split piece right back here. Alright, Now we're working with this split piece. Same thing. Just getting this hide off of the skin. At this point I'm going to go ahead and just cut this ear right off too. There's just cartilage, there's no bones in the ears, so you can just slice right through that ear. And at this point just start hacking away. Don't no real concern about what you're going to mess up. And what we're working toward is we're trying to get it all out of the way right up to the burrs, so that the burrs won't be, there won't be a bunch of excess hide right around the burrs, and we'll be able to get the hide off from around the burrs, which we're really close to that at this point. There we go. Now we can see clear access to that burr. That ear's still in the way. Okay, so it's pretty much all loose. The only thing that's it's attached to right now is the burr. And the way we're going to remedy that is we now need to split this hair right here. We're going to split it like we did before, where you're kind of pulling that blade upside down, getting right in between the burr and the hide, and then you're just going to split this piece of hide back. There it is. So that piece of hide is split, and then we can now see the burr up and in there. And then at this point we take our screwdriver and we just shove it in between the burr and the hide. We're going to do this on the back side of the burr because this may create a little bit of scoring. We don't want that to be seen. So right on the back side, shove that screwdriver in between the burr and the hide and just twist it. Twist it. And work your way around the burr doing that. And I know this is hard to see on camera, but this is the concept right here. Screwdriver right there between the burr and the hide, and then you just create that separation using quite a bit of force. And you're going to do that for pretty much along the back side, and then we'll be able to just rip the front side right off. My damn gloves already KO'd itself. Right now I'm just trying to create that separation from the hide and the burr, and I'm doing so on the back side of the skull where I know I'm going to create a little bit of scoring, but it's not going to be an issue. So we're at a point now where I can pretty much start skinning that burr hide off just like any other skinning job, where you just kind of bit by bit. There it is. Okay, awesome. So now what I have in my hand is basically the hide that was around the burr. And we're going to attempt to just rip it, and hopefully this will rip once I free it up a little more. Okay, so right now the hide is pretty free. And if I just grab it and pull it really hard, it should come around. Something like that. And a lot of hide got left on that burr. Hopefully we'll do better on the next one. But whatever you can do to create separation, cutting it back. Now we can at least see what we're dealing with. Let's actually try it from this way now. Notice how you got that little bit of separation between the hide and the burr. I'm just pulling this. I'm about to rip this hide back from this burr. And once we created that separation with the screwdriver, we're just getting rid of that little connective tissue. And then I'll pull on it hard. Doesn't want to go. Cut back a little more. Now we can pull on it hard. Doesn't want to go. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Maybe the next one will. Now the big thing here, which is, I realize it sounds like a broken record, but we're cutting up on the burr and not right here on the skull. So we do not want that to be seen. And then that's basically it for the burr. Hopefully we'll have a little better luck with this other one, being able to just rip it off in one foul swoop. But any of this hair right here is going to come off in your boil or your maceration or however you choose to clean it up. So that's obviously majority of the hair, but there may still be a little bit of hair on the burr. That's not a problem. So let's try out this other side. Alrighty. And my glove is fricked up, but this head was killed earlier today, and I'm really not concerned about it. If this was a hide that somebody, or a head that somebody brought me after being out in the sun for 5 days, then it may be a different story, but this thing doesn't have any smell to it. So here I'm cutting up from the eye, getting rid of this connective tissue, working right up toward the burr. Pretty much there on the burr. You can feel that's the only thing stopping this from going any further. So like we did on the other side, we need to work up from right here, right around the back side of the burr. We need to make a little cut here to split this hide. I'm using the bottom, turning this knife upside down so we're not scoring up that bone. Alright, so the hide's pretty much split. Work your way down to that burr until you're seeing no hair right next to the burr. So that's a pretty good spot right there. That's what you want to see. And then I'm cutting away any connective tissue. Just opening it up, getting it ready for that screwdriver to come in and take care of business. Nice. It's kind of sometimes it can be a pry tool. Get rid of this. Let's enter this. We can enter this really at any point in between the burr and the hair. Give it that twist. Just creates that separation that we need. And then I'm just hacking away at this connective tissue. And then let's make sure it's free so that I can start the rip job. Okay. Pretty much ready for a rip job here. It's okay, there's a little bit of hair still on the burr. Still around the burr, I should say. That's a scratch you don't want right there. That's okay, there's a way to get those out later. Alright, let's go ahead and rip it. Oh, that was satisfying. That's what we needed. Put us back on top right there. Fantastic. So that's what the rib's supposed to look like. Clean right across the front of the burr. And that was awesome. By this point, head skinned, you can really put it in the pot just like this. What I'm going to do is go above and beyond and show y'all how to get the bottom jaw off, how to get the eyes out. As long as my cameraman doesn't need to do anything. Alright, he's got time, you got time. So basically, right here where the bottom jaw meets the top jaw, we're going to make an incision straight back. There's a bunch of meat right here. You need to get through all of it. Same thing on the other side. If you haven't figured it out already, this is a symmetrical head. Everything you do on the left side, you gotta do on the right side. So, really I should have made this video half as long, just showed you how to do it on the left side, and then you can use the deductive reasoning to figure out how to do it on the right side. But so this guy, after he killed it, he put it on ice, so it's been cool all day. Hadn't been frozen, but it's been cool. The more frozen it is, the more cold it is, the harder separating this jaw from the top jaw is going to be. Right now you can tell it's pretty freaking stuck. I created a little separation there. And that's what you want to do. You want to create as much separation as possible, because there's a bunch of ligaments and whatnot we're going to have to get through. I'm just going to take the tongue out and get it out of our way. Yeah, he's been eating that corn. You know how we do it here in the Texas Hill Country. We put corn out and they come. Alright. You gotta cut in the mouth, back of the mouth. You gotta cut all this junk. And there's no real right way of doing this. You just kinda gotta get through all that BS. See if we got any more separation. Okay, that's really good separation so far. Just keep cutting stuff back. And when I'm doing this, I'm putting a lot of effort into it. Oh yeah, that's awesome. So we pretty much got all the separation we need. We just need to start cutting all that tissue back. And tissue and meat, and I mean there's no perfect way to do this. You just got to get it all out of here. And my blade's already getting dull, which is okay because we're damn near done. Once we get this bottom jaw off, we're home free. Getting the eyes out's easy. This can either be tough or it can be easy. This one is already proven it's going to be easier than normal. It's going to be nice to me, so that's always a good thing. I'm cutting up right here where the jaw meets the lower jaw meets the top jaw. You got to create some separation here because that's where this thing connects up here. Same thing on the other side. Try not to hit that bone. See how much we got now. Oh yeah, she's gonna come. Now that bone, you're hearing a bone breaking. That's nothing you need to be concerned about. That's nothing that's going to be part of the Euro mount. It's just going to be a random bone. It's not necessary. And then there, you got the lower jaw completely free. It's just a little bit of a, it's almost like a wishbone that connects this, and it is right here. And then here's a little tip and trick for you. Once you get to this wishbone, it's literally this thing right here. I can feel it. I'm trying to expose it for the camera, but there it is. You just snap it with your fingers, and then you can cut right through that hole you just made. Same thing on the other side. Some buck. Find that wishbone. It's not a wishbone, but I call it a wishbone. Right here. Snap it with your finger. Boom. Lower jaw is pretty much free. Just gotta get rid of all this. For those of you that are curious, these are the lymph nodes. This is where your CWD is going to fester and harvest, and that's where chronic wasting disease is found. So, if you, and the reason I'm sawing is because my blade's freaking dull, but this is where that CWD is going to be. So, at this point, if you wanted to take these out, give them to your wildlife agency. They can check this deer for CWD, but we're not going to do that in this certain case, even though we could. We very well could, but my neighbor probably doesn't want us doing that, so we're not going to do that. And then the eyes, real simple, very last thing. You're reaching back here, just grabbing any kind of tissue you can. You're pushing this blade way back in that eye socket. And you're cutting back there as much as you can. If I had a sharper blade, this would be nicer right now, but it's going to work for now. Yeah, the sharper the better back here, because this tissue is so weird. But we're working at it. Alright. she's pretty much free. You see those eyes bulging out, may give you nightmares. Cameraman's worried about blood getting on him. It's a legitimate concern. Alright, that eye is just gotta come here any second. Alright, eye's coming. The reason you get the eyes out is because the boil will not do well on the eyes. It'll kind of just add a lot of grease to your boil, which you definitely don't want, and it won't boil the eye. It's just easier to get that out, especially if you're macerating the bacteria that won't eat the eye. So it'll just be there. Good Lord. Alright, need a sharper knife. I got one right here. And this is just going to cut like butter now. So that's definitely something you want to do. And then you got a little eyeball right there. I'm just kidding. We're going to do the other side. I'm going to show you how easy this is with a nice fresh blade. Back in there, might as well just ream around the whole damn thing. We're really looking for that top side though. And if you poke the eye, I'll do that for fun purposes. This weird jello comes out. Not the worst thing in the world, but sometimes I like to not do that. And just like our eyeball, if you can imagine, there's just one kind of long piece of something that keeps it in there, and once you get through that, it's just tissue and you're good. Head's ready for a boil or a maceration, whatever you want to do with it. You will need to get the brains out as well if you're going to go the maceration route. Basically all you do is you just stick a stick in there, rub it around, stir it up, and then squirt it with a squirt hose. You can also use compressed air to do so as well. But head's ready. Appreciate y'all watching. Hope this helps. Feel free to leave a comment. Ask me if there were anything I wasn't clear on. And appreciate it. Later, y'all.